Joel Embiid feels a little disrespected. The 76ers star not holding back his feelings after a report by The Athletic said that Ben Simmons believes the Sixers chose to build around their all-NBA big man in a way that does not fit Simmons' playing style. Please listen for yourself.
Our teams have always been built around his needs. So it was kind of surprising to see, what was said. And even going back to, the reason we signed out is, we got rid of Jimmy, which I still think it was a mistake, just to make sure that, he needed the ball in his hands, and, that's the decision they made. Like I said, it is surprising, but I'm really focused on the guys that are here. The situation is weird, disappointing, borderline kind of disrespectful to all the guys that are out here, fighting for their lives. Some guys rely on, the team to be successful, to stay in the league and make money.
All right. Big Perk is here, NBA champion Kendrick Perkins. Great to have you, Perk. Stephen A., I'm going to start with you, and I want to make sure that I didn't misquote him. He said it's borderline disrespectful. What do these comments say to you?
Well, that Joel Embiid is getting tired of all of this noise about what Ben Simmons doesn't want. Mm-hmm. He's like, wait a damn minute. We were in the postseason. I showed up. You didn't show up. And, the thing that everybody has to understand that players are feeling about Ben Simmons right now. And I'm not saying they're casting any aspersions on him outside of Joel Embiid or whatever, because they want him back. But the flip side to it is that there are people that are sitting back and going like this, the nerve of you. You don't show up. You don't work on your jump shot. You don't work on your free throws, and you the victim. That's not how sports works. You're a victim when you do the job and you're not appreciated for the job that you do. Not when you're greatly appreciated and people give you a pass on a lot of things, but somehow, some way you don't produce and it's other people's fault. Mm-hmm. That's what no one's hearing from Ben Simmons. You shot 34% from the free throw line. Shaquille O'Neal shot free throws better than you. Wilt Chamberlain shot free throws better than you. Dennis Rodman shot free throws better than you. This is some all-time epic futility. So Joel Embiid is like, what the hell going on here? Now we hearing about you don't want to play with me. What? But having said that, one could argue they're not the ideal pair. One could argue that Joel Embiid gets drafted 3rd overall in 2014, misses his first 2 seasons, even though Ben Simmons got drafted in 2016, missed his first full season. Joel Embiid missed 2 seasons. Joel Embiid has never played more than 64 games in a season. He's missed his share of games. He missed 21 of the 72 games last year. These are legitimate injuries, of course, but nevertheless, that was an issue. Yeah. And so you understand what Ben might be saying. It's just that you ain't in no position to be feeling these things right now if you've Ben Simmons, in the eyes of a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Perk.
Well, it's several things that I took from what Joel Embiid said. One is that he's ready to sign them papers and his Usher voice, because that marriage is over. After that interview, is no, fixing that, okay? That's the first thing. Second of all, right, he didn't tell a lie. He didn't tell one lie. And when you look at what he said, when you talk about them losing Jimmy Butler to keep Ben Simmons, he didn't lie about that. Everything that the Philadelphia 76ers did, the moves that they did, getting Seth Curry, getting Danny Green, more shooting, more spacing, it wasn't because of Joel Embiid. It was to accommodate Ben Simmons. Joel Embiid could play with anybody. Ben Simmons can't. Okay, third of all, this is what we're not realizing in that message. I'm appreciating Joel Embiid for his leadership, because the season is about 2.5 to 3 weeks away. Now he's knowing that Ben Simmons is not coming, but he knows that, hey, I got to worry about the guys in this locker room. We got to be ready to go to war. So I'm going to go out here publicly, because Ben Simmons is not answering the phone or returning anybody text messages. So I'm going to jump out here publicly, and I'm going to go into the fence and speak up not only for myself, organization, but for my teammates. And he gave us the edit version. God knows what he is saying behind the scenes in the locker room, saying, hey, let's get it, man. Look, he don't want to play with us, whatever. I've been in locker rooms like that. And I'm going to say this. People better be careful and watch out for the Philadelphia 76ers, because things like this only bring a ball club closer. And I wouldn't be surprised if they get off to a hot start and be one of the best teams in the NBA.
Hold on, Perk. I got you. Before we move on, because
Yeah.
we got to move on to another subject. Really quickly, Molly and Perk. Ben Simmons saying that and Perk highlighting that it's over also kind of made things difficult for the Sixers as well, because now it's almost like you got to get rid of Ben Simmons even more.
Yeah, absolutely.
And other teams know that.
And remember,
so they might try to undercut that.
Big Perk's right 70% of the time, all the time. You know those statistics. The NBA, I love you, Perk, has reached the 95% vaccination threshold of its players, reflecting a steady rise that's great since the opening of training camps this week. League sources told ESPN on Thursday. Ultimate weapon and promise to maximize the big man's impact for the Los Angeles Lakers this season. Here's Mr. Triple-Double himself.
One of a kind. There's nobody like him that can do everything that he is. My job is to make sure I continue to push him each day, each practice, each game, so he can be at the top of his game each and every night. He's been in this league a long time, so he understands how to play the game. He knows when he needs to turn up, and I know now he wants to turn up. So it's my job to make sure that that's up every single night.
All right, starting with you. Now we're talking some basketball. Now we're talking the fun stuff. Yes, that which we all love. Who should Westbrook be pushing more? Is it Anthony Davis or is it Westbrook?
I think he can do both. I don't know why. Look, Russell Westbrook is the ultimate competitor. By the way, Russell Westbrook did call Anthony Davis the ultimate weapon, Stephen A. Right? And let's talk about what happened to AD last year. Missed 36 games due to injuries. But I want you to know something about AD. AD has a talent to be one of the best to ever do it.
Yes.
But last year, career low in rebounds, fewest blocks, field goal percentage, and free throw line percentage. 21.8 points per game marked his lowest scoring average since his second year in the league.
Yep.
So if there's a reason why you're bringing Russ over to this team, yes, because of his pace, because of his aggression in which he can play, but also because of that mentality. And now what LeBron James has in his back pocket, instead of LeBron James always having to be that cop to try to push AD, or when he's not around to get AD to see the bigger picture, now you have guys like Russell Westbrook. Now you guys have like Rondo. I'm not taking any accountability away from Russell Westbrook for Russell Westbrook, because he does have accountability for that. But I like the leadership and that mentality he brings to this team.
I have no problem with it, but I think that Russell Westbrook is a plus, not a minus, and I applaud his mentality. I love his fire. Y'all know that. What I would tell you is that the focus right now has to be on Anthony Davis in this regard. Russell Westbrook talked about it, and maybe it was because it was a question thrown to him by the media, and we understand that. Anthony Davis has literally had about 50 injuries in his career. 50. Anthony Davis has missed about 155 games in his career. Where I stand is that somewhere along the line, when Russell Westbrook talks about him turning it up, Anthony Davis had to acknowledge that's something you didn't do in the past. And that's where we get to Anthony Davis. What possible excuse could you have? What did I say last year? When I was concerned about the Lakers, they were walking around town because, as you know, I do get to L.A.
Quite often
these days, okay?
We know. You're bi-coastal. You're fancy. We know.
I do get to L.A.
Everyone, Stephen A. has multiple homes. We know.
No. I'm just saying, I ain't going all that. I'm just telling you I frequent L.A.
Oh,
and I love it. I mean, I play the song I Love L.A. every morning. I mean, I just do.
Geez.
Okay, here's the deal. You won the title. What were you doing in the offseason? You see, at moments like this, as critical as we can be of LeBron James from time to time, this is when we need to step back and pay homage to LeBron. This is why he's on the Mount Rushmore, to the Kobe's, to the MJ's or whatever. They're the marquee. They're the headline. And there's an innate internal responsibility that they feel to answer the call. So it's not just about my ability. It's about making sure that I'm in shape. It's about making sure that I maximize my potential and that I'm ready for all comers as an individual because everyone's looking at me. And my response to that is, how could you have a teammate like LeBron that just helped deliver you your first title ever? And I'm not insulting Anthony Davis. I'm asking a question because it's something that I would ask him to his face. If you didn't do all you could physically to have yourself in peak condition, how could you allow that to happen to you when you know you playing with a champion? You playing with a guy that the bullseye is perpetually on his back. How could you have that slippage? And so it's great that Russell Westbrook is there. Russell Westbrook's chasing the ring too now. But we've never looked at Russell Westbrook and said durability is an issue, conditioning's an issue. Only time we ever question Russell Westbrook's conditioning in his career is when the brother came down with COVID.
I agree with you. I say I agree with you to an extent.
Okay.
But I do want to provide you some cover on this.
Please.
The last 2 seasons have been condensed seasons and they've been quick turnarounds.
Okay.
So for AD's body, I hear what you're saying.
Right.
Some of the things that I've heard about training and taking that seriously in the offseason, putting on that flexibility, that weight, body muscle wise. But there is something to be said about playing the amount of games they played in those condensed times and the time they've had off in between.
You know what? And I'll throw this back at you. I know LeBron is a freak of nature.
Yeah.
But I would be pretty embarrassed if a dude that is older than me is consistently in better shape than me when we have the same profession. That would bother me.
Well, that's luck, though, Stephen A. too now.
Again, I'm not talking, injuries happen. I'm talking about conditioning. I'm talking about you roll up in and you ready. Last year,